that impact it. Yep, exactly, because right now we have people from different areas who are here, and so we'll just do that, okay? Cool, does everybody have 3? Okay, so now we're gonna look at that list of 3, and I want for you guys to put a 1, a 2, or a 3 next to them. We're kind of prioritizing right now what you think the greatest level of need is. We're not kind of prioritizing, that's exactly what we're doing.
Are they already in order?
No, 1, 2, 3, that's mine.
Okay. Wow, you know, it becomes affordable when it's effective. But you're right. We'll just keep.
Can be
doing
both. I would say both,
affordable and
because it doesn't go right places.
Okay, I want for you guys to work with the pairs that you had already had earlier today, okay? I want you to look at the 3 needs that you've articulated, and I want for you guys just to agree upon family, community, agency, okay? So I'm gonna give you not a ton of time, because I think you guys are quick learners and that you've been able to identify this, so.
Drug addicted individuals. I was already doing the
This part's, we're really just looking at the level of need, not necessarily that prioritization piece, okay?
Right, exactly.
And then the next is it's not affordable.
So you can, and even ours.
Housing wages
is not.
We're still in Kalispell. Yeah. Okay, guys, so does everybody feel comfortable with the identification of the level of needs that you guys have articulated on there? Everybody feeling good about that? You have your level of need identified, and we've prioritized, right? So have you been able to say these are the top priorities that are there? Okay, so this is on page 26, all right? And Alicia, if I could borrow you, that would be awesome. Okay, yeah, we'll make sure that, yeah, we'll be here to help, so. Okay, so I am going to just kind of move around here, and I'm going to ask people, Travis, what was your top priority that you identified?
We put, for number 1 was housing. There's no affordable housing around.
Okay, so our community lacks affordable housing? Okay. Okay, so that would be great. Let's put that down there. This is our helpful statement right now. We're going to use it to build our logic model today. So the other way we could frame or word affordable housing need would be individuals lack access to affordable housing options, okay? So that would bring it to the family level.
The family level.
Yep, so affordable housing is one of those. Let's see another one. Lainey, what did you prioritize as your first? Affordable housing?
Yeah, they overheard us.
So what's full of Sean, is that one that you identified as well?
Yeah, we said
Okay.
availability of housing.
Okay.
Yeah, affordable housing is
Okay.
an issue.
And so it sounds like we have,
We went
yeah.
to low income at one point, but then we went, it's
general.
any, you know, if you have this
It's
kind
not
of
just low
income,
income.
you may not be able to afford a house, find a house, because there's not.
Rich people are.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. So
Rich people are more
what we're
than
doing
that.
right now, this is actually really cool because part of our community needs assessment, we're gonna have a key informant survey, which means basically we're gonna count the number of people that say affordable housing or fall into one
Oh.
category to identify needs. So this is the way that we've chosen with this section to gather the data that we'll use then to determine what our plan will be. So let's put 2 tally marks there, one representing Sean, one representing Lainey. And then Alicia, what did you identify?
That was my first one too, is the need for affordable housing.
Okay, so look at that, we have 3.
Should I put
Oh,
four,
Four.
because Travis said that too?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Now we have four.
yes.
I just put from back home, like the childcare programs or the after-school programs, you know.
After
for-
school is really hard.
Because like here, it's like, I didn't know that the sheriffs bought the Boys and Girls Club home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they
Oh.
shut that down. So I
So-
think that's a big thing.
After school.
Families
programs and
lack
stuff.
access to after-school programs, or maybe community lacks after-school
Yeah, like-
program
yeah.
opportunities?
Mhm.
Okay,
Or child
So-
care,
Yeah.
Affordable childcare.
yeah, yeah.
affordable childcare is
Families
hard.
need access to affordable childcare and after-school opportunities. Is that a safe?
Preschool age children, they're, you know,
Yeah.
even,
Childcare
parents
is
are.
expensive.
Ugh.
Cause I have twins and they went to daycare,
Yeah, man.
you know.
Twins is hard,
Oh,
yeah,
you're like, "Can I get 2
exactly.
for 1
Yep,
deal here?"
absolutely.
They're technically the same
Aaron, what did you identify as your top priority?
I didn't really have anything because
Sorry, keep on walking.
I don't really have a single, so
Okay, so,
and I have a house.
okay,
But no, definitely I do see that there is a need for, because I have a lot of my friends have kids and that's what they struggle with is any sort of daycare
okay,
or any sort of after school programs. So,
okay. So when you're talking about that, you're talking about an individual struggle, so we'd be identifying a family level need
Yeah.
there, which is families lack access to affordable childcare. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's put 2 down. Sarah?
So I think it goes to both Libby and Kalispell actually, and I think before you can even hit those two, employment.
Okay.
Lacking employment, because like in Libby, the job market there is terrible.
Okay.
Unless you're high up on the doctor's, degree,
Yeah.
going to the hospital or a physical therapist.
Can you give me that need in a need statement? So
We need more
families
jobs.
Well, I
need
think,
living wages in order to,
right.
yeah.
Or
About
And I think,
poverty level
and I think the communities lack.
And the communities
Living
lack
wages.
living wages,
Yeah, even here
okay.
in Kalispell,
Well,
it's hard to
cause
find a
see,
job.
I don't know about living wages
Absolutely.
necessarily, because like our issue here is we have lots of jobs, there's just not living wages
Yeah.
with those jobs when they're part-time.
To afford the
Yeah,
housing.
to afford the
Right,
housing,
yeah.
so it's very
So
connected,
It's but
absolutely.
it's a little bit different than like say Libby's, where they just don't have jobs.
They don't have jobs,
In general,
but
not-
yeah,
Not even
okay.
the ones that are under. the
Well, and I
living wage.
think, but even as the saying goes, and I don't know if it's still true, it used to be, the Flathead Valley was the hardest place to find a job.
Oh, we have
Because-
so many,
Because
There's a lot of jobs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of
That's what you
jobs,
say.
yeah.
but there's also 35 people applying for every job that's open.
I don't know if
So
that's
you're
true.
not
Yeah.
competing, like, there's more people.
Yeah, your pool might be
So
bigger,
so
yeah.
the employment pool is bigger when they try to go apply for
Okay.
a job, the interviewing,
Right.
so.
That's how it is
I mean,
with
that's
housing.
kind of how the statement used to be years ago, was this was one of the hardest places
That's wild.
to.
Okay, so Tony, what did you have as your number 1 priority?
affordable family housing.
Okay, affordable family housing.
Yeah.
So let's give another tally mark to affordable, and,
And then I had adult continuing education as my next
Okay.
one. So, and it ties into, say, number 3, which is above poverty level employment.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
without some kind of education to help people kind of advance into that next level, how do you get a job that's not $8 an hour at Teletech that
Yeah.
doesn't buy you a house? It barely pays
Exactly.
you, barely pays your
yeah,
bills.
they make more than that. So, and Lisa, what was your number 1?
Yeah.
They're
Drug
one of the
addiction
best
prevention.
Okay, so our community needs, or,
I saw it as an individual need, because
Okay.
you gotta start it there.
individual,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Individuals lack access to drug addiction programs, would that be an appropriate
No,
needs
that's different.
statement?
No, to stop it from starting, to stop it
Oh, okay, so
prevention, not.
individuals lack access to prevention programs to
Yes.
deter drug use.
Or there aren't any prevention programs
Okay.
to deter drug use.
Individuals do not have a preventative program in which they could enroll.
Doesn't that make it community versus individual?
Maybe.
And that's, it kind of, but I think you can frame it, again,
Right.
that language, we
It's
can
education
translate
too.
that.
Families leave their prescription drugs around, which is where
Yeah.
it starts anyway. So,
Absolutely. So-
that's kind of my thing.
Okay.
Drug
Yeah.
addiction prevention is just kind of the idea of it.
So I think that with, so go ahead and write that down. Again, we're using this key informant because all of you are experts. We all recognize you as experts with collective knowledge about what's working and what's not in our surroundings. And so we've used that knowledge collectively to look at where our priorities are. You did great. Yeah, thank you. So with this, I think that we've clearly identified a need that kind of, we've heard in a number of different ways, which is the affordable housing need. Because right now we are trying to articulate a needs statement and we are working to build a logic model, I'm going to say that since we're in the Introduction to Roma class right now, we're going to have that logic model be built off of the family idea because that's going to be the one that's the most digestible for our day. And we're going to need to articulate affordable housing and make a needs statement that touches on that in the family level. So,
Wow.
we
got some work to do.
We got some work to do. So
This is the fun part.
right now, what we're going to do is just restate this to make it a family level need. So Alicia, can you, oh shoot, I messed up on that because that was my blank piece of paper from later on. That's okay, later on I'm gonna have to add in another piece of paper. We only have one
Turn it
easel that's
over.
really, yeah, there we go. Look at that, conservationist. So let's look right here and let's get this need statement articulated. Affordable housing is what we've identified. We're doing it on the family level. The language that we use is families lack, individuals need.
Access.
So, okay.
Ability of.
Okay, so I'm hearing what you're saying. Can you speak a little louder
No,
so
I
we can?
can't.
Okay, families lack access to.
Access to or availability of affordable housing, something along those lines.
Okay, so let's make
The
it,
lack of.
families lack access to affordable housing.
I think
Can we do
that's-
that?
I think that sounds amazing.
Okay, sound good?
Amazingly awful, sorry, amazingly awful. The problem sounds awful. It sounds like a great mission, what a needs statement. Yeah.
Families, yep. Lack, yeah, access. AC, yep, double C, double
I'm gonna
S.
question myself because everybody's looking at it.
I
I'm
know,
like, I didn't
exactly,
spell that
nobody
wrong.
cares,
Yeah.
nobody cares.
You could totally do it if
It's
we weren't
totally fine.
watching.
We're not playing Scrabble, we're not gonna challenge you.
What do you mean?
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, okay.
Is that assess
So-
or access?
What we have talked about is, as we went through and articulated these and as you guys broke out into your groups, you identified if we had family, agency, or community level needs. Yeah, that's awesome. That's perfect. That's exactly what we needed. Thank you so much. That's all we need for right now. So, yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
Spelling anymore.
Is this something, so we've gone through, we've done our key informant survey where we've talked about these different level of needs. We've identified what the number one was, and we've articulated it into a needs statement at the family level. Is this something that our agency is addressing?
Barely.
Hopefully they're trying.
Sorry.
I imagine it's on the table.
Okay.
But isn't it also a program that's also
Every
kind of
weekday.
going away in the short term? I mean, once we're done with the courtyard apartments, isn't the housing department kind of slowing their progress, so to speak?
They're gonna be reabsorbed, so that's gonna be a kind of a structural thing. So again, it's gonna be sort of similar to the way that community action has evolved in terms of we're changing the name, we're gonna kind of reallocate and redistribute the duties. It's still gonna be part of that network, we're just gonna call it something different. So you're right, there will be a change with that, and it's gonna be a little less visible because we won't have a department that says housing, but we have community services, and within community services, we absorb housing, and so we'll still have the courtyard apartments and other programs that support housing within our service menu. So we're
we are
working on
trying to
it.
address
We're not building new housing.
counties lack access, are they just not trying to do it, or?
That's a really great question,
I
okay?
think the community lacks more than,
Well, I have
I mean,
a,
like, you know what I mean?
I know
Like,
how
not
we,
making effort to go to the programs
how we
that are
try
there
to
or, you know, like.
alleviate
Yeah,
that barrier
think
of
you guys
access
do it
to
for
housing
us.
within our programs, because I
Yeah.
don't do that, but
I like it.
Yeah.
what the barrier that would be for the access that we help out with, I would say, is that
initial income piece of being able, that barrier of security deposit in 6 months rent.
That's right.
Exactly.
That is,
Startup costs.
you know, something that is a huge, you know, door, an obstacle for people to get into housing in the first place. Even if they could afford it, you know, paycheck to paycheck, it's one of
That's
those
true.
things that's a barrier. That
Most people don't.
we
And
do
that's a
help
really
out
good
with.
question, Corey, because
Yeah.
that's something that we have to be really intentional with the wording of things. And as we move on today, we're gonna identify some strategies and some different things that we're gonna do that really address that access piece. And so, I think it's important to remember that as well. So what we are gonna do right now is we are going to continue with the building of our logic model, okay? So we have our mission, and now we're gonna identify our needs. So our need is right there. So that's in that column 1. And if you refer to your, it's not on yours.
The bottom of page 25.
Bottom of page 25, thank you. I just moved ahead too far. You'll see that needs are there. So, and that column is now shaded. With Drucker, he asks us, again on page 25 here, who our customers are, okay? And he talks to us about different types of customers. So we have primary customers, and those are the recipients of our services. And those whose lives are going to be directly impacted by what we do. And then we have supporting customers, and that's going to include staff, partners, members. When we do our needs assessment to identify what our top priorities are as a community, we have to make sure that we're talking to primary customers as well as supporting customers, because both of those input pieces are pretty critical for us as we move forward. We also have to remember that that customers are never static, or that they change. Customer needs change. And so we need to make sure that we're always kind of factoring that in, as well as, you know, what sort of needs do our customers currently have. Could somebody please read the Drucker quote there that starts with the question?
The question, what do customers value? What satisfies their needs, wants, and aspirations? It is so complicated that it can only be answered by the customers themselves. Nonprofit leaders tend to be convinced they are doing the right things and are so committed to their cause that they come to see the institution as an end in itself, rather than asking, does it deliver value to our customers?
Exactly. So we've
Well-
identified who our customers are. That's all part of those Drucker questions. That's number 2, who they are. We have primary and supporting customers. And now we've moved on to question number 3 of what does our customer value. I also want to just point out that we use the word customer here. It was part of the 1993 legislation. It doesn't have to be the term that we need. It's, you know, people who are seeking assistance, it's those we serve. We have a lot of different terms that we may use, and there may again be some assumptions behind saying client or patient, you know, you think of different connotations. For the purpose of today, we use customer, but within our departments and within our agency, we define different people as different roles within that. So again, what does the customer value? And Alicia hit on some really critical points there, is that Drucker identifies that sometimes we project our assumptions onto what people might value without asking those questions. And so Drucker asserts that we need to make sure that we're getting the feedback from those we serve, from the customers that we have, to make sure that their input is accurately recorded and that their values are represented in the actions that we take. So again, we talked a little bit earlier about buy-in, how if you talk to the people that are the most important in the process and you have their buy-in, then they get behind your programs a lot more. So in that sense, if we get that input and that feedback from people about what they value, we're able to build programs and an approach that hopefully reflects what those values are, and that allows for that customer buy-in buy-in in the process. So it's just a way to be really client-driven and really focused on what we're trying to accomplish based off of what people are telling us and not based off of our own value system that we're trying to project. We can't make somebody expand their values, but what we can do is get a good snapshot of where their values rest and try to reinforce those and teach new skills that help support, you know, that value system and that structure. So again, we just want to make sure that we're not making assumptions based on our own idea of what people might want, you know? So